If you have tried meditation apps, positive thinking, affirmations, and all those methods, and nothing seems to be working for you, then today's book is for you. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mehak. I hope you guys are all fine. And like always, I also hope that you guys are reading back with the book of the week that I've been really wanting to read from a while. I was going through one of the interviews of Ankur Wariko where he had recommended this book, and he said it's going to challenge all your fundamental beliefs or the way you look at world generally. And I thought, why not give it a try? The book is Atmamun. It's by Kapil Gupta. It says the path to achieving the bliss of the Himalayan Swamis and the freedom of a living God. So this book, or what the author talks about in this book, is inspired from the Himalayan monks and the Swamis that stay in Himalaya. So there's a lot of lessons around silence, detachment, and natural living. But let's talk about what the book is actually about. So this is not your typical self-help book. So there are no practical guides or steps to do certain things. No, this book is like having a very intense conversation with someone who's going to spit out hard facts to you about your mind, about your relationships with yourself, with God, with the world, and about some of the fundamental beliefs that you've been carrying so far. And at times it feels pretty harsh because he doesn't sugarcoats anything. What the author Kapil is essentially trying to say is that the mind, he talks in detail about it, how the way we look at life or our sufferings, everything is related to mind. So he talks about that the mind is the major cause of our suffering. And further from that, he talks about that how as an individuals we need to practice detachment from materialistic things, detachment from society, detachment from our prejudices and biases, and just essentially generally how we look at life. Because he's saying that there's a very interesting thing he talks about in the book, which I'll share with you, which is a part of my key takeaways from the book. But he's talking about that because of your mind and because of your perceptions, you feel that life is something that is happening to you. But that's not the case. Life is something that is happening around you. It is something that you experience. So there are a lot of lessons on detachments in the book, which I'll be talking about. But to tell you guys, what does Atmaman mean, this word? It is basically a Sanskrit word which means mind of the spirit, or a state of no mind. So, he specifically says Atmaman does not mean to be calm or to be at peace. No, it is essentially um, a, um, a phase, or I would say, where you are actually not using your mind. So it is a no mind situation. So that is what is called Atmaman. It's experiencing the true bliss, which is not after going for happiness or misery. It's just not bothering about anything of it. So where, like I said, you realize that life is something that is happening around you and you don't make much meaning of it. So that is essentially what Atmaman means. Now, as always, I have certain very important key takeaways in this book that really made me like, wow. So the first one, because I said that he heavily talks about mind, something called as that the mind can go anywhere it wishes. You need not go with it. The mind can entertain any thought it wishes. They have nothing to do with you. You must have heard, and a lot of time it happens that sometimes we make so much of the situation in our head than what it is in reality. So that's why he's saying that you don't have to go where your mind is going. So be careful about that. There's a very important chapter on your relationship with God. And, he says that prayers that we do to God are not innocence, homage that we pay to the divine. These are all clever transactions. It's, bargaining at its best, a deal in the holy market. So people donate fruit and money in exchange for higher pensions, success for their children, a flourishing business, etc., or to get a certain gender of child. It's a black market devoted to the fulfillment of desires, manufactured by God. So he's saying that how often do you pray to God just for praying, and he says without asking for anything in return, or just for the betterment of God, why not? So he says that it is important that when you worship to God, just discover what you're truly using God for. Are you using God for insurance policy, or are you having that connect with God to perhaps get a deeper insight to you as a person? So I think that is something that was very interesting, shared by him in the book. He further talks about that the single greatest obstacle to Atmamun, which is the state of no mind, is the presence of your manufactured self. So he says that, when you grow up, you look at the world, your family, your culture, because of that, you behave the certain way, you walk the certain way, you eat the certain way, etc. So that is your manufactured self, which is influenced by your opinions, biases, and how you generally look at the world. So he's saying that the person that you call myself is the source of all your miseries, because this is a person that you have manufactured depending on your experiences and your interactions with the world. So remove this manufactured self and you will be as free as living as God. So yeah, that was one thing on the manufactured self. Another thing he talks about, which I just referred a while back, where he quotes Bible and he says that there's a Bible phrase that says, seek and you shall find. But perhaps the seeking is speaking of not the seeking in the world, but a seeking within yourself. You see, once you seek inside, you no longer have the need to find. The search will be over. They say the best guide is inside you. The best mentor is inside you. So more often, we have to find time to spend time with our own self. And if you can enjoy a company, then nothing like it. Okay, this one phrase is my absolute favorite, where he's saying that life is something that you're supposed to experience. It is not something that you make permutations or combinations out of it. Very difficult, but a very interesting perspective. He says that life is not a wishing well. Life, he says, my friend, life will not give you anything. Not because it is evil or cruel, but because it has no capacity to give you. It is simply there. It can be experienced, it can be drank, it can be explored, but it is not a wishing well. You're supposed to live life. That is important. So life is not what you think. So he says, do not intellectualize life. He quotes an example that you never ask a child who says, what is the meaning of life? No, it's only these intellectual questions that are asked by an adult. He's saying if you understand that life has no meaning, the events in your life will not affect you. Anything, good days, bad days, have a detachment towards them. Know that they are not permanent. They are part and parcel. They are just waves that will come and go. The wisdom to live life as a poetry rather than a stale and confining prose. The next he talks about is that how the lesson in detachment, where he says that the problem is not wealth, success, and luxury that harm a man. What harms a man is the attachment to these things. So, where he's essentially telling us that, have this detachment towards materialistic things. And from that, he's talking about that how legends are made. They don't think about winning and losing. He says that success arises from innocence or from a sort of knowing. He says people who are successful are not people who worry about the outcome, victory or defeat. It arises from innocence when an individual is so devoted to his craft that he gives himself to it day and night. Not because he wishes to make himself a success, but because the craft is quite literally a part of him. He feels that he's born to do it. Maybe if you take an example of Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Albert Einstein, any field. I think these guys were really, they wanted to learn more. They perfected themselves every day and they were so engrossed in it that the success was just a byproduct of it. So that's why he says that, to not pay attention to victory or defeat, just focus on knowledge and learning. So he says that rather than finding the thing you can imagine yourself becoming, find the thing you simply cannot imagine yourself not becoming. That is important. So we might not know what you want to become in life, but I think having an understanding that what you don't want to become in life, that is important. And a few last thoughts where he shares about meditation, where he says meditation and meditativeness is different. So meditation is temporary. You might feel calm, for those 10, 20 minutes that you meditate, but what after that? So he says that if you find every task joyful, whether it's brushing your teeth, driving, doing a particular work, everything then becomes a meditation to you. So that is how you should be training yourself. He says that if you're serious about living a peaceful life, drop all matters pertaining to the world and pursue all matters pertaining to yourself. So it's not like not bother what's happening in the world or the world peace, But the lesson here is that, if you cannot help yourself, if you cannot sort what's inside your heart, mind, or just what's going on with you, don't go out helping the world, because that's not going to do any good to the world or to yourself. So please help yourself first. And now the second last thing that I'm going to talk about is a wonderful lesson for parents. I'm not a parent, but I think these lines were so powerful. Um, so he says that if you wish to raise children, stop being a parent. Abandon the idea of ownership. Usually parents feel that they own their kids. For he says that whatever a man owns, he destroys. So he's giving an example that, do you not see that you treat other children better than yours? You're calmer with them, more gentler with them. Why? Because you don't own them. You own your own kids. That's why he says that the truth is that you don't own your children, just let them be and you will see the difference. So he says that whatever a parent does in the name of his or her child, he's really doing for himself. Some lost dreams, he couldn't do it. He wants his child to be in a certain way, behave in a certain way. So he's saying that stop that, stop owning your kids. And lastly, he's talking about the difference between, he's saying that you might run through your life, doing like meditation, yoga, whatever, affirmation for happiness. But he's saying that shouldn't be your goal, and this is what a very interesting definition that I came across about, or a concept that I came across, that he's saying that, go after bliss. And what is this bliss? He's saying that the search for happiness is nothing more than a reaction to happiness. For happiness and misery are different segments of the same wave. Neither of them will benefit you. What you should actually go for is the bliss. What is bliss? Bliss is the abandonment of the search for happiness. You don't look for happiness. Detachment from it. And the abandonment of the search for pleasure. For this will return you to the moment that you forever seek to escape. Like it's same as if you enjoy your work, you will not be, looking for weekends or for holidays, because every day becomes a playground for you. So this is what some of the major takeaways you will get an idea from this, that what are the different things that he's talking in the book. So I feel like if you have read a lot of self-help books and they didn't really help you, I think give this book a shot. What it does, it gives you very different perspectives of the things that you have generally read about so far. Some of them are actually helpful. I would say you can apply. Some of them you might not agree with because they come out really harsh, but I think definitely worth a shot. But if you're looking for a warm, fuzzy read that gives you some practical guides and tips to, suddenly improve your life, this is not the book for you. So that's all on this book, Atmamun. Let me know in the comments if you have read the book. What did you think about it? Or, if this review helped you to pick this book up, if you're curious enough. That's all on this title. I'm going to see you guys next week with another title. Till then, take care and bye-bye.